Hello and welcome back to No, It's Crochet. My name is Nicole Bandis and this is Farrah Froggett. How was your week? I gotta know. Tell me all about it. My week was a week. It wasn't, like wow, but it also wasn't like it was just kind of one of those. Yep, we got a little bit done. We got a few things that we moved forward, and there was some family time that we were taking care of business, but so nothing like astounding either way. So I think that's probably a positive. so, what am I wearing? Well, this is the Tide and True tee by Two Brothers Blankets. And if you're not familiar, if you haven't been watching the channel long, this past spring, early, January through Marchish, I think, time frame, I did an experiment where I did the exact same pattern in two different types of yarn. So the pattern called for a worsted weight, or worsted, sorry, that's not what I'm talking about. They were all both in fingering weight. The pattern called for, whoop, yep. Let's do that again. The pattern called for a wool yarn. And I did one in the wool that it called for. Both were fingering weight. And then this one I did in a fingering weight cotton from Hobie, the Friends 8-4 mercerized cotton. And just to kind of compare the different results, the wool one actually came out with a lot more drape, which if I had to have made a prediction, I probably could have predicted that. Whereas this one is more of a sturdy sort of, it's like a beefy tee kind of thing. So this one is definitely a lot warmer, but I love what I did with the colors. And I have to say that I did the thin stripe versus the thick stripes because I didn't have enough of any one color. And I love doing color play because I like the way you can really customize that. I don't like weaving in ends. I don't like tying off yarn, but I love the results, and so I do sort of struggle through doing that colorway just to kind of give the different effects overall. And I love the pattern that I kind of came up with on this, so I'm really happy with it overall. All right, yarny news. Well, the good news is there's no drama this week that I am familiar with anyway. Hopefully we can keep it that way for a while. But there is some exciting news, and that is that the Rhinebeck Wool and Sheep Festival is starting next week. Now, I've never gotten to go. Yeah, I know. Will play a violin for me, but I want to go. One of these days I'll get there. I have been to Rhinebeck, but it was during the summer on one of my RV trips and not in October when Rhinebeck was occurring. And to be honest, it's like 2,500 miles from me, so I'm on the other side of the country. I have a hard time kind of justifying to my small budget to fly out there, knowing that I'm going to end up having to spend even more money there. I think one day I will go, but maybe what I'll do, since I don't get to go this year, is to do a recap video of some of the recap videos that I see and just kind of get some exposure. I don't know, maybe, we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do, but at least now you know what Rhinebeck is. It's probably the largest festival, yarny kind of festival in the United States. And so yeah, check it out. You know what, in fact, what I'll do is I'll link to some of my favorite videos from the past years. I know Nitty Natty, who is mostly a knitter, has gone several times. I know Elise Rose Crochet has gone and done some videos. So I'll see if I can't find a couple of videos so you can kind of check out what that's all about and link that in the comments below or in the notes below. That's what I'll do. All right. So let's talk about what I have in timeout versus what I'm currently working on. I have been a little bit all over the place lately, which has kind of been driving me a little bit bonkers because I don't like that. I've had too many projects that I needed to really focus on and not enough projects that I could just kind of sit on the couch and crochet. So that was like, I'm fighting with myself. Which one do I need to finish first? Which one do I need to do now? Which one do And so I had priorities, and those priorities keep changing, and I keep getting stuck, and it's just been a little bit of a mess. But I am processing through that. And one of the projects that is deprioritized, it's not in timeout, it's not hibernating, I'm just not actively working on it right this moment, is the Christmas lace motif crochet top that I had started a couple of weeks ago for Christmas, and I wanted to really make sure that I got that done for Christmas. That one I just haven't been prioritizing over some of the other things that I've been doing. But let me show you one of the ones that I have been prioritizing because it feels more like a fall project. And I started it after I started the Christmas one, but then I'm like, no, I really want to do this. I actually started it last year, but let me show you what we've got. So this is the Arrow crop top by Katarina, and this is the one, I think last week I was really struggling with the stitch count on this and trying to get the count even on both sides. And I was just like, why is it never right? And I realized as I started making the second piece to it that it works out. It's okay to be off. I don't have to have it exactly the same number of stitches on both sides because it works, it evens out. And I don't know, I still don't understand the math on that. I'm just letting it happen. And as long as it works out, it works out. So I have started the second panel on this. Now I don't know which one's going to be the front and which one's the back. I kind of wait and see which one is better, which usually ends up being the one that I did second, but we'll see. So this is going to be the second panel. What I did, now this pattern actually calls for you to work up on the kind of this piece right here. I forget I guess the yoke. I don't know. Anyway, on this section, it calls for you to work until there are no stitches left. And I'm opting right now not to do that because the way that ends up is it's very almost off the shoulder. And I don't want it to be off the shoulder. I want there to be enough of the shoulder left so that it covers my bra, or I mean, even if I have to wear a tank top under it, I'm okay with that, but I don't want to have to be constantly pulling it up. And I have a narrow shoulder base anyway, so my thought process is that I will just work it until it is pretty close to off the shoulder, but there's still quite a bit of chunk left there. So I may change my mind once I actually start working on and sewing everything together. We'll kind of see how that goes, because the next step after I finish this panel is to sew them together and do the sleeves. And the sleeves are usually like, I think 3/4 sleeves with a little bit of a cuff, if I recall. I can't remember for sure, but anyway, my goal is to be done with this by next week. And I have a big reason why I want to be done with this by next week. It's going to be a little bit of a push. I figured out that it takes me about 45 minutes to do a row. No, that's not right. 45 minutes to do 3 rows, 1 color, basically. So I think I did the math so that if I do 9 rows a day, then I can be done by next week. So that might be pushing it a little bit, but that's my goal. And I'll tell you why in a little bit, but I would really like to have this done and retired. The one thing I gotta say, this yarn, this stroll, which is what I'm using for this, on the skein, it does not feel that soft. It feels very much like a wool yarn. This is superwash merino wool and nylon, so it's a sock yarn. But worked up in the project, and maybe it's because I've handled it a bit, but it feels a lot softer worked up than it does on the skein. So that's very interesting to me because usually it's the other way around. As I've been doing all these crochet swatch Saturdays, I'm finding that yarns will feel very soft on the skein, but worked up as a crochet, they're not as soft. And I think that's because the crochet is kind of bumpy. But this is not the case with that. So I find that very interesting. Our finished objects. Okay, so last week I told you I was really frustrated working on the arrow top and that I was getting really tediously bored with the elf hats. Fortunately, I have finished all 4 of the elf hats. And you can see one of them right here. So you can see it's got these adorable elf ears. And it's got a little puff on the end, and every bit of it I made. So I didn't even buy these. I actually made these, and you can see, maybe you can see the fluff flying in the air as it's flying. This one is for my granddaughter. I already gave the other 3 to my niece to give to the grand nieces and nephews. So that they had them, but I think they came out pretty good. I was really a little bit intimidated by doing the ears, and the ears actually turned out to be really pretty easy and a quick workup overall. So I'm kind of happy with how those came out. I think they're super cute. So that is my finished objects for the week. Yay! I got one of those things off the list. And I think because I got that off the list, I can really just get laser focused with that arrow crop top and just, pound that out. I really want to just focus on getting that done this week. And that's because I joined a crochet along. One of my goals for 2025 was to do a crochet along. And I was starting to think I wasn't going to end up doing one because most of the crochet alongs that I've seen are for blankets or shawls. And I really didn't have an interest in doing either one of those kind of projects. So I'm like, well, I don't think I'm going to end up doing that, and that's okay. And literally 2 days ago, Hand Jan Crochet put out a stunning crochet pattern sweater that is called the Starlight. Here's a photo for you. And she's doing a crochet along starting next week. So I bought the pattern, I ordered the yarn. I hope it gets here in time, but I want to be done with the arrow crop top before I start this one. Now I did the mosaic. This is in mosaic, so that top piece is mosaic. I have done a mosaic washcloth. I did the mosaic summit a month or 2 ago. So I have confidence that I can actually do this top. And one of the neat things about this top is that you can do it long sleeve, you can do it short sleeve, you can do it no sleeve, or cap sleeve, I guess. You can do it crop, you can do it full length, you can do it fitted, you can do it baggy. There are so many. You can do it with a collar, without a collar, with ribbing, without ribbing. So many different options for this top to really customize it and make it your own. Now, the one thing that I'm a little bit nervous about is that the yarn is an acrylic yarn. Acrylic is not my favorite because it's a little itchy scratchy. At least most of the yarns are. There are some that are not. I went ahead and ordered the acrylic because I've never done a pattern this detailed before, and she says that it's an adventurous beginner to an intermediate pattern, and I think that I can actually do it, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money on nicer yarn for something that I is almost brand new to me. So I figured, you know what, I'll crochet it up using the acrylic yarn, and if I really love it. I mean, she says that the crop one, that with the short sleeves, that she finished it in a week. Now, she might be crocheting 6 hours a day. I don't know. But my theory is if I finish it fairly quickly and I feel like it's a really great pattern and one that I want to do again, maybe I will get some Christmas yarns and redo it a second time as a Christmas sweater. Now, I know I already got the one Christmas sweater in the works, and I suppose I could do it as a Christmas sweater next year and just stick with this one as a Christmas sweater. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So many ideas. So many ideas. Choices. You know, there are just so many choices. But yeah, so that's my plan. I really wanted to get this crop top, arrow crop. I don't know why it's called a crop top because it's not crop, but it's an arrow crop top. I want to get that finished so that I can start with the crochet along with that. Okay, what else do I got on tap? So, I know I showed you last week some of the t-shirts. I think I did anyway. Some of the t-shirts that I recently thrifted in order to do the crochet, redo the collars. And I wanted to show you the yarns that I picked out to go with them. So, okay, so the first one we got is this Country Roads, Take Me Home. This is a sheen top, and I'm surprised at how nice the fabric on it is for a discount retailer kind of thing, but it's pretty nice. It's got this yellow in here, so I thought that the yarn that I got from Darn Good Yarn would look really good with this. I know this has more orange in it, but I think that the yellow picks up the yellow in there, and because this is a black, it almost gives it a little bit of a Halloween vibe, but I'm okay with that. I think that looks really, really good together. What do you think? Do you like that one? I think that's a good combo. Because I honestly don't have any straight yellow. I guess I just don't gravitate towards yellow. I think it washes me out. Maybe that's why. So that's one of the ones that I've got planned. You know, one of the hard things about doing these project videos is I have to have piles of stuff on one side, and then they all sort of move to the other side, and it's all nice and orderly on one side, and it becomes a total mess on the other side. So after I've recorded the video, I then have to clean up the mess. Yay! It's a good thing I like doing these. Okay, so my favorite shirt is actually this one because it's got the camera and sort of the mountain scenery, and I really like the look of it. Now, this one's a little bit more worn. I don't think the sheen one was hardly worn at all. This one does have a little bit of wear to it. I noticed some pilling, but once I washed it, the pilling was all gone. And of course, I can do a little bit more pilling, de-pilling on it. But overall, I mean, I think it was like $3. So there's this one. And this is the yarn that I picked to go with it. Let's see. Hold on here. Switch hands. You know, it doesn't show up quite as good on camera, I don't think, I had actually had a swatch that I used this for, and when I did put the swatch against this, it was stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. Now that I have unswatched it, I probably would not have picked it, but because I know what the swatch looked like, I should have realized that before I shared it with you. But it's okay. You're going to love it. I promise. I think it's going to look really good because the greens and some of the salmon color, and there's no blue in it, but I just think it really picks up the greens quite nicely. So that's what I got for that one. All right, and then I don't know how much of the thrift store stuff I've showed you, but I also went through recently and raided my closet. So I want to show you some of the other upcycle projects that I have in mind and see if I can't get some of these knocked out while I'm working on all these other projects. So let's start with the skirt. Now this one was a pricier. This was $10. And I think what I'm going to do is just do like a granny square border around the bottom so that it goes all the way around in different granny squares. And yeah, just add a little character to this otherwise sort of short skirt to give it a little bit more character. That's the plan for that one. Next up, I have so many down here. I'm going to be bending down forever. This denim jacket, this one was $12.99, and it's reversible. So I'm really waiting to kind of get some good inspiration for what I want to do. I have no idea what brand this is, but I can cut the sleeves off, and I'd like to do something maybe that works with both sides so that the reversibility will still continue to work. Once the inspiration strikes me on this, I will let you know. If you have any ideas, maybe just do something kind of black and gray. I don't know. Okay, so this top is a Caslon, which I found out afterwards is a brand from Nordstrom's, I think it was. Anyway, and I think this top is so much fun. I wish that it was a little bit bigger. It's just a little too snug on me because it's got so many details. It's got the waist strap down here that you can kind of pull it a little bit more snug. It's got the fun collar design. When I look for these upcycle jackets, a lot of times I look for ones that have more detail and more, more fun benefits, fun features instead of just normal. Now this is just kind of a regular fabric. It's not a denim, but I found this Lindy chain yarn that I think is going to just look absolutely perfect with that because it's got the red piping in the red thread throughout, so I think that color is going to look really great with it. Let me know what you think. Then I just have to figure out what stitch pattern and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, then I have this Chico's Platinum, and this one was $12.99. I already cut one of the sleeves off because I was actually planning on getting started on this one, and then I wasn't quite as inspired, so it's on pause at the moment. But it's honestly just your basic white jacket, but because it's a nicer brand, and one of the sleeves had a stain on it, which I think is why it had been, yeah, you can see right there. So I can't really reuse the cuffs on this one, which is totally fine. I can just do a ribbed cuff or something, bell sleeve. But that's the white one. Now the rest of these I pulled out of my own closet that I've had sitting in there for a while. So style-wise, they're not on trend, but I can make something exciting out of them. Okay. Yeah, there's a few here. All right. So I have this riding jacket, and it doesn't fit me anymore. It's kind of made out of like the fake velvety kind of material, velour. I think, you know, the stuff that the tracksuits, juicy tracksuits used to be made out of. So, you know, maybe because it's that velour, it's not ever going to do anything fancy. But if I get inspired, I can cut off the sleeves and make something fun out of that. Then I have this Massimo, which I think is Target brand. And this one is super cute. It is crop, so it's shorter. Again, it's a little too small for me now, but I love all the wear details and the fading, how it's got the fade transition in the back. I just think it's a really fun jacket overall. And obviously the sleeves are way too big because I had to fold them in. So we'll see what we can make with that. Okay. I had my moment where I thought Cheetah was cool. This is a 3/4 sleeve, and it's got a zipper. You know, honestly, some of these I'm like, really, Nicole? You think you're going to do something with them? But I figured, well, it's donate them to Goodwill or stick them in the closet and see if I can't get inspired. And this is one. I mean, this has got a chunky collar to it. So, you know, it's just fun. I liked it while I, you know, had that. It's got some pleats in it. So it's a little bit of just a hint of a peplum. Not much, but just a hint. And peplums are actually kind of back in style right now. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll find something cool to do with it. What do you think? And then I have this almost like a suit jacket, again with the 3/4 sleeves and some zipper pockets. This is a really fun, this is also Chico's. It's a fun color. And it might be a little too dressy that once I do the upcycled sleeves on it, it just doesn't have the right vibe anymore. I'm not sure. Maybe it'll be kind of, that'll just add some pizzazz. I don't know. Again, it was free because it was already in my closet. So there you go. And then finally, this one I actually might do something and keep for myself. My sister-in-law, I've had my I'm in love with horses phase, and I still love horses. And she gifted me this sweatshirt that has a horseshoe on one side, and on the back it has this really pretty sort of dot diamond pattern horse head. So I was thinking maybe I can cut the sleeves off of this and get some metallic-y kind of thin fingering weight, because this is not real heavy yarn, that I can upcycle this and just make it a little bit. I mean, it's already fun, but honestly, I don't wear it because it's that kind of cross between, okay, well, it's too casual but too dressy. So if I did something with the sleeves, I think it would take it up a little bit dressier, but still be sort of casual. I don't know. We got to see. Anyway, that's what I got in the pile to be upcycled. Now, I got to tell you, though, I have been shopping, thrifting, because I am still looking for a jacket that will fit me, that I want to upcycle, that will be kind of my signature piece as we go into the colder weather. I say, as we're still sitting at, you know, I don't know, what is the weather right now? Well, we're at 93 today, so it's still warm here. And so I don't get to wear jackets that often, but I really think that I need to have one that is my own, so that when people see it, I can say, yes, I do make these, and yes, they are available for sale, and here you can go find them. So I have still been sort of browsing thrift stores just to see what's out there. And because it's for me, I'm being really choosy about which ones I pick up. So I haven't found one yet. I actually saw one didn't look that carefully at it because I was looking for very specific colors and I wasn't looking for one for me. And then now I'm like, man, I really should have looked at that one because it was purple and I love purple and it probably would have been perfect, but too late. It's at a Goodwill that's pretty far away, so I'm not going to go back. And it was a month ago, so yeah, it may not still be there. Probably isn't, and so I'm not gonna like go back just to try and see, since that's quite a drive. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for this week. I told you all about the crochet along. I will put the link to that in the notes below, and all of the good stuff that we talked about. This week's Crochet Swatch Saturday is going to be with that orange yarn that I showed you that's going to go with that first t-shirt. So that should be a lot of fun, and you'll get to see what that looks like worked up. That was a little bit of a teaser on what that yarn looks like, but you'll get to see the whole thing on Saturday. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. Remember to like and subscribe because, it's a good payment for me, and I appreciate you so much when you do. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye.